Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the last show of 2018. You're in the mediator with me, Brian West, where it is my duty, my supreme duty, to give you the top 8 stories that made it throughout the week, top 8 headlines, and developing news stories. It's been an amazing year of learning and trials and ups and downs, but I'm here for you. I'm here to give you the top 8 stories, the last of 2018, but the top eight going into 2019. We have a lot going on in the world as usual, but I stay committed. I stay committed to going through over 50 to 200 stories a week to do what I got to do. I have to sacrifice a lot of time, but I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm here for the love of the game. I'm here to please you. It is my duty to give you top 8 headlines and developing news stories in mediation. Let me go through. If you want to contribute any way during the show, or if you want to catch the show throughout the week, or the top, or any of the stories that almost made it in, or you want to read further on the stories, you can go to method, the number 8 inc.com. That's www.method8inc.com. And you can also, if you want to sponsor a program or help us out, you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. A lot going on in the world. And let me read the disclaimer really quick. These top 8 stories are only documented for records and to highlight topics for those in the business of talk radio, talk media, and those who just want to stay informed. Now, folks, if your signal is not strong enough and you want to tune in online, you can also go to www.600wslm.com and you can tune in online. And I'm just hoping that everybody is getting ready to have just being thankful that they've made it through another. We're almost there. We're not too far away. And everybody should be counting their blessings. We've lost some people in 2018. We've had some down, and it's sad that we're starting the year off with a government shutdown. But I'm going to get to that now. Let's get to the top 8 stories. It's a top 8 to keep you motivated. I even got a final song that was given to me by a local artist, Tony Zesson. I'm going to probably play at the end of the show for the New Year's. Let's get to the top 8 stories. Story number 1. Are Americans crying for help before 2019? Folks, this story is interesting because we have to look at what's happening and what's on the radar. And if I think we're starting to realize how important it is to be active and to be informed, and just to try to see what's going on. And that's my advice to you in 2019. Did you know that patients are now turning to GoFundMe to file to basically fill health insurance gap? Yes, a woman lost her hearing due to a brain injury, and she's had to she's trying to get help going through GoFundMe. Folks, story number 1. That's the reason why the story made it to the top 8 is the fact that there are Americans crying for help. There are people in this country, not just immigrants, not just migrants, not just refugees, but Americans. The country is facing a poor homeless problem in San Francisco. People, you've got people. There were this year alone, there were 144 police officers who died. So that's reversing 1 year of decline. So, folks, there's some things happening. There's been couples who have been battling, who've had to work 5 jobs to pay off medical bills, and this is just letting you know that people, America, there's been more overdoses this year than in a long time. There have been data breaches, cyber attacks, rigged elections, and just hard-working individuals, the working class, and they're concerned, and that's if you get anything out of, if you're getting prepared for 2019, I have a survival guide for you that I'm going to lay out in this show that may give you some insight to what is actually at stake. But story number 1 that crept into the top 8 this week is: are Americans crying for help before 2019? We only have 1 day away. New Year's Eve is tomorrow, and then it's 2019. And that's but right now you're starting to see, I think people are starting to get an understanding. I was talking to one of the board ops in here, Fred. I was telling him about just the future. The idea of freedom and democracy is always a great idea. It people will die for it. It's proven that that form of government can work if treated right, if people understand it. But there's some things that made it into the top 8 that may get you to understand why there's still some unhappy campers, and why, and pretty much why things may be looking down. Some people are constantly preaching the end of the world, preaching that everything's gonna fall apart, the world's gonna come to an end. I can tell you one thing about mankind that makes us different from the dinosaurs, that makes us different from every species on this planet, is that we have intellect. We have the ability to create and to think our way out of things. And we have the ability to show mercy. We have the ability to show love. We have the ability to do things. We are you see all these movies about special powers and human beings with special gifts. Mankind, although we are animals with intellect, we have the ability to do great things. That's if we put our minds to it. So in 2019, you may be thinking about all of the wrong. You may be thinking the world's coming to an end. But a positive and an optimistic attitude is maybe what you want to root for. If you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, method80.com. You're in the meeting with me, Brian West, where I give you the top 8 headlines developing news stories. If I sound a little undertone, it's because I have a stuffy nose. I'm always battling with sinuses, and I've always got to go to the VA, and I've got to make sure I stay keeping, stay in the gym, keep an eye on myself. But I'm lifting weights and I'm staying strong to be a great mediator, because I have to stay in the middle and I have to navigate. So if you want to contribute or help out in any way, you can go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. You're the mediator with me, Brian West, where I give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories. I am located at 5648 Market Street in Boardman, Ohio. I'm there from Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, serving the public, spreading the knowledge that I've learned in my life to give back out to the community. I've served in the military, I've went to college, I've done some things in my life, and I've tried to use my skills to better the community. We do all types of things, computer repairs, consulting. We buy, sell, trade, digital music distribution, wedding planning, wedding event photography, all types of things, performing arts. So many things that we do dealing with intellectual property. I mean, anything you see on TV is basically what we do at Method 8. So if you want to contribute anyway, if you want to help us out, you can go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, and you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. I am headed into getting ready for the new year, and I'm giving you I've come in here to give you the top 8 stories. Let's get to story number 2. Story number 2 that made it to the media this week. Will hunger drive people wild in 2019? Yes, hunger is an amazing thing, and hunger and education are amazing things, because when people get hungry, they do some amazing things. And in 2018, we saw hunger strike. We see people dying from hunger in Yemen. We've seen, but in Syria, the country where Donald Trump wants to pull out of the military, there was a story that caught my attention, and it's talking about how there's still some Syrians who were left behind, and they're teenagers, and I think it's Raqqa and Syria, and they're creating their own school. They are so determined to be educated. They are so determined to try to better themselves. Some of them are illiterate, and many of them do not want the United States to pull out, because they know what's going to happen when it. So what we've learned in 2018, if we haven't learned anything as just a nation, as Americans, is to try to get a grasp at our own potential and how we can be a greater nation, even greater than what we've already done. America has always been unique. It has not always been for what they say pleasing, but the idea of freedom and democracy has always been unique. And if I'm wrong, then how could people who were taken from their own countries and brought into America as slaves? Or why do people migrate into a country and still get the opportunity to be free? How do you change the course, change the ideas of a man once being considered three-fourths, and then getting an opportunity to basically change things around, getting it? And how do people humble themselves? Even the woes of the past, people rebounding, people seeing things differently. It's like a flower that blooms lopsided, and then next thing you know, the whole field is lifting it back up. There's always been, if you don't believe me, you see all of these Americans showing sympathy for the Mexican people, for Syrians. The idea of, we'll talk about philanthropy, and the idea of giving donations. Americans have not lost their mojo. It may be presented like that in some media talk shows because chaos creates controversy. Some people like drama. But I'm here to tell you folks, as we close out 2018, I watched a community with nothing. There were children who burned in a house fire. I believe it was 5 children who burned in a house fire. I watched a community in Youngstown with nothing left. The community has been hit from all angles. GM has been there for almost 20-something years saying they're going to close up shop. The hospital where I was born and saved, I was saved at this hospital, shut down. Nurses lost their job. But during the holidays, during the Christmas season, I saw people come together to give a family. I think they raised almost $30,000 for a family who lost 5 children during the holidays. I seen it myself. I left my business and went down there at 6 o'clock to give a few dollars that I had. I'm on my last dollar as well, but I gave it to the family. But I seen all of these children in there, and they're all in there. That's what I'm telling you. It's people. If people are promoting the downfall, talking about everything is going to just fall apart. You go to a church building and they're preaching the end of the world, somebody's going to come from the clouds. Folks, I'm going to be optimistic. Even Christ himself, even in the Bible, it says, no man know the day or the hour. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. In my duty, my supreme duty as the mediator is to give you positive vibes on the radio. If there's some aliens reaching my signal, reaching my voice somewhere in the universe, they will say America is good because there's a person on the radio from the Wild Wild West, Brian Keith West. He's giving us some positive vibes here, some positive vibrations. I do not preach doom and gloom. I don't talk about it on the radio. I give you what you need to know. Make you informed. I search through 50 stories, 50 to 200 stories a week for you to keep you informed. And I'm telling you, as long as there is a dog in the fight in 2019, as long as there's somebody who still believes in the concept. Folks, there's a lot of hungry people migrating around the earth. There are so many migrants who don't have a home, don't have a country. But I'm telling you right now, America, as long as that inspiration, that feeling, that wanting to be free, and people are dying for it. People are still dying for it. They have nothing to lose. Their countries have went bankrupt. Their governments have failed. Their democracies are crumbling. You can listen to every media outlet. They will tell you there's something happening on planet Earth. And it's got something to do with human nature. We as human beings are, some of us are left out in the cold. But I'm going to get to a story here that is story number 3, but let me give you a quick tagline real quick. You're in the media with me, Brian West, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodinc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. You're the mediator. If you want to show me some support or show Method 8 some support in any way, you can go to METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or you can just sponsor a program. Any little bit helps. There's not much you have to do. Is basically just have internet access, or you can stop by our office. I'm there from 10 to 6 Monday through Friday, and I'm there serving the public. You can buy something, come in the store, buy a book, get a service or anything. It all goes back into the community. I'm at 5648 Market Street, Boardman, Ohio, there from 10 to 6 Monday through Friday. You're the mediator with me, Brian West, and I'm giving you the top 8 headlines developing news stories in the business of everything. This month's author of the month is Destiny Harris. She's from North Carolina, and she's published some children's books. Her books can be also purchased on the website as well. Children's books. You can go to METHOD the number 8 INC.com. You can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Let's get to story number 3. Story number 3 is my goal for the end of the new year is to get you into 2019 on a positive, because there's some people struggling right now. In my life, I've seen things myself. I've had to struggle. Sometimes you can't explain why you have to struggle in life, why you have to why you have to see so much hatred, so much bitterness in people, but still be able to get up the next morning. I've suffered in my life, but I've always tried to keep, even when I was serving in the military, trying to shake my shipmates' hands, my brother's hands, letting them know that they're not alone in this battle. So story number 3 is holding hostages for a wall deal before and after 2019, and why migration is happening all over the world. Folks, there are things happening in the news. If you haven't noticed, we've lost 2 children, people trying to get the border. And this border problem is a problem because I believe it was an 8-year-old Guatemalan boy and a 7-year-old Guatemalan girl. She died December 8th. And the scary part of this story is that it hasn't happened in about a decade. So we have to ask ourselves, as a country, I know there's a lot of left and right politics going on, but African Americans, most African Americans will tell you that they feel cheated, and then the Mexican Americans will tell you that they feel like they want to do things. And then you have a majority who most of them migrated over here because they were not satisfied in their own country. And you've watched the buildup of America, the melting pot, and you've watched this pot mix and boil, and it's been this way since the founding of this nation. You've watched Native Americans, you've watched them have to seek refuge in their own land. So there's a lot of debates going on about who has the right to say anything about, but every country has borders. But what makes the United States unique is the fact that it was founded off, even with the Pilgrims, of people trying to seek refuge, trying to find a place to find home so they can live a normal life. And I honestly believe that that's what makes this place that we live in great. It's been that way since I was born in the 80s. So all my life I was taught about redemption, working, finding a way to work to better your life. So you have these situations where right now where people are confused because you have an administration which has the mindset of helping America, and you have people who are fed up with good deeds. Now, as the mediator, in between, sacrificing my time, I have to explain to people about what they call understanding the responsibility of power. Anybody with power should understand that with power, I think that was in Spider-Man, comes great responsibility. And if you are not responsible with your power, with your power is amazing. It's a universal equation that can't be solved. It's like, where does the sun get so much energy? So, pardon me, but I tell you, it gets tough in mediation, but somebody's got to do it. So I have to explain to you why this immigration and this world view of America is basically the center of attention. For years, we watched, I don't know if anybody's into sports, but we watched players like Tiger Woods. We've watched players like Michael Jordan. We've watched players like Wayne Gretzky. We've watched track stars like Michael Johnson, and we've watched American superstars. We saw the Dream Team. We see players today, and you see children or people with nothing, and they wear these jerseys. We see military veterans. We saw a veteran who lived to about 112, and it's encouraging because people don't think that it can be done. So the process of this country, the most amazing thing about it is the fact that people believe in it. And I don't care what African American you talk to, even though most of my ancestors and their ancestors were slaves, most of them will tell you that I feel comfortable in this life, because some of them are bitter. Some are just like there's bitter of all races, but most of them will say, I'm thankful that I live in a place where I can make hip hop songs. I can sing songs. I can express myself. So we're reaching a point to where this ability of power is being tested. I'm not going to throw any stones at this administration. I'm not going to throw any stones at the Democrats. But in the process, as we transition into 2019, and we have so much power that we can continue to possess as Americans, we can continue to educate ourselves. You could be on the bottom line. You could be a drug dealer one day and be a doctor or an attorney the next. That's not the case in a lot of places. And that's why when you see something happening, there are some heroes out there, folks. And there are people like they're talking about churches. Folks, these priests, these reverends, these churches, a lot of them are functioning with minimal resources, and they're taking these people in. There was some stories about they're saying that they're dumping thousands of migrants in border cities, or they're dumping it into safe places. So the idea and the people are calling to America for help in Syria. So what we're starting to notice is that some people are saying we don't want to fight anymore. We don't want to lose any more lives. And then you're starting to see the reflection happening within the foundation of how, and the principles that the first generation was trying to lay out for the next generation, is that you could never forget the sacrifices, because if they didn't sacrifice, there would be no more greatness. So you see a president who by design is like I said, I have no problems with each president, because I know that's a hell of a job. But they're saying that they don't want to do it anymore. They want to go into a stage where we just want to take care of ourselves. We want to live off the fat of the land. We just want to be at peace with ourselves. And if you look at Roosevelt, when Pearl Harbor happened, we were put on edge, and it was drilled in my head before I left the Navy that you have to understand what it means to obtain so many resources, so much power. But some people are letting the evildoers, the people who mean nothing, or I wouldn't say mean nothing, but have done so much harm, distract us from the ultimate idea of this country. And I honestly believe in 2019, it will be tested. Right now you have over 400,000 workers who are facing a government shutdown. The debt is going to increase. So we ourselves, a lot of Americans are on drugs. A lot of Americans can't recover. The only ability for us ever to get better was there had to be hope. There had to be some type of a belief in something greater for the future. This is amazing stuff, folks. But it's happening in America right now. But it's not just happening in America. There are people trying to migrate into places for a better living. But most of them want to get to the United States. So some people say Why can't they get a pathway to citizenship? Why can't they? Just because they're breaking the law, or because but there are people being held hostage because of the evil doers. But there are good people in this fight, and they are dying to get here because they have nothing at home at their own land. So there's going to be a battle in 2019, an immigration battle, because of what we're seeing across the world. This battle's been going on for a while. But some people are, even when you have citizens who don't understand the value, or who don't even care about, but you have people who want to get here, there may be some swaps. We don't know what's going to happen in 2019. But each administration is starting to see. There was I reached a story. They were talking to some of these Mexicans, some of the guys who were at the border. They was just saying, we're human beings. We want the same things, but some of these people just don't even understand. They don't know what's going on. Only thing they're seeing in their head is freedom, a place to live. So you can't punish that mindset. But you've lost two children here in this battle to try to get to this country. These parents thought if they bring children, even children are being held hostage. So this border issue, this story, number 3, is gaining so much steam because of the fact that you're starting to lose, and it's becoming the center of attention between Democrats and Republicans. I'm fighting it out here in mediation. I tell you, it's tough, but I'm at the halfway point. But ICE has continued to release asylum seekers, and they're releasing them into like El Paso, Texas. They're releasing them into these cities. Churches are taking them in. But story number 3 is an interesting story, because it's not just, people are migrating all over the world because they do not like it at home, but they believe in this country, and it's creating you will see some things happening in 2019. Let's get to story number 4 real quick. We're at the halfway point. And story number 4 that you might want to keep an eye on in 2019 is why lack of trust may be at the dinner table in 2019. People are not talking politics. People are starting to understand that they have to go underground to discuss certain matters. And right now, there is a lack of trust. This story right here, story number 4, crept its way up to the midway point because in 2019 you probably will see, folks, you will see some changes in people's talk and their tone. They will probably be basically talking about things that they used to talk about in public. They probably won't be talking about it anymore, because people are plotting about survival in 2019 because the trust is leaving. People don't trust their politicians. They don't trust the wealthy. The middle class has been suffering. So and people have been losing jobs. So in 2019, you may start seeing people in survival mode. People don't even trust their data, the fact that they've been putting data in the computers. So you will probably see a wave of informed people trying to educate and get their own family members who probably have been living off the hog for a long time, trying to get them on the same page in 2019. Folks, there are still some people living in an age where they think there's going to be infinite resources, infinite everything. But when you talk about the fact that even when you look at Medicare and Medicaid and health, the fact that the government is on their knees right now, trying to get people to understand that this idea that government is going to handle everything has to leave people's minds. So in 2019, you may see you're going to see a drastic change. Senator Cory Booker, he's calling for more transparency in Medicaid drug decisions, but it probably won't get passed. But he's talking about trying to get pharmaceutical companies to basically let people know more about where they're getting or how the prescription drug business is handled. And even in Saudi Arabia, when you talk about the Khashoggi killing, when you talk about journalists and how journalists were treated in 2018, and even you can look at Russia and the fact that Putin is basically saying they have a nuclear missile that's ready for deployment. In 2019, there's going to be people are going to be probably more focused on survival than anything, because of the fact that there's so many threats, there's so many circles that you can get into. People are already becoming tribal. They're closing up certain conversations about certain politicians, or they're not even talking politics at the dinner table. Even when it comes to sports and certain things that people put on Facebook and their social media, it's not as active. There's just a lot of hatred, bitterness that's been spewed out, that's opened up a lot of wounds. And we have to ask ourselves, is it because of this administration? There's been racial tensions. People talking about being on the phone at hotels and being called the police on. There's a story that made it in even about the entertainment world. So this is, even if the United States withdraws from Syria, folks, there are things happening right now where people are becoming so isolated, and it always stems from leadership. People are saying that this administration is causing all of this activity, all of this anger, all of this frustration, all of this unsettledness. So it's story number 4, why lack of trust may be at the dinner table in 2019. This may be the big ticker. You're at the halfway point. If you want to contribute anyway, you're in the meeting with me, Brian West, where I give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it throughout the week. Trying to keep you informed, get you to understand what's happening, get you to make sense of what's happening, trying to make it better. And being the mediator, I have to stay in the middle, so I have to dissect the right and the left to see what's happening. Keeping you informed, that is my duty, my supreme duty. As a child, I was put up to the clouds, put up to the sun, and I was born to mediate. I lift my weights, I run around the track, and I do my push-ups. I get stronger and stronger for you. My libido is at 110%. My strength, my anxiety levels. When it's time for mediation, you can expect me to deliver the good news and news in general, folks. I'm giving you a good deal. If you want to contribute anyway, METHOD, the number 8, INC.com. We're about to close out another year, 2018, and we're about to be headed into 2019. But we've got to put our war suits on, folks, because there's some things happening across the world. Things are being shaken up, and the goodwill of people, of human beings, is being tested. It's reality. METHOD, the number 8, INC.com, methodating.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. I'm in the business of just pretty much anything that deals with intellectual property, the things in your thoughts, the mind. If you want to protect them or you want to put them out in the public, you come to 5648 Market Street, Boardman, Ohio. Boardman, Ohio. Oh, God. Please forgive me. It's been a long week, and I've had to dry myself out because of my sinuses. So if I cough a little bit, just hang in there with me. I'm digging deep in my power pack, and I'm giving you 100 vocal vibrations. I'm going for my power pack right now, and I'm getting ready. Let's get to story number 5 real quick, because we're headed into 2019, and I have to keep you informed. It is my duty as a mediator. But if you want to contribute anyway, like I said, I'm at 5648 Market Street, Boardman, Ohio. You can utilize my services or buy something, or you can just go to the website, www.methodinc.com. You can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or you just sponsor a program. You can also, if you want to help us out, there's some other things that we always have going on. We have like yearly things going on, so there's always something. And if you want to catch the stories that almost made it into the media, you can go to the website as well, www.methodinc.com, methodating.com. We're at the halfway point. Story number 5. Gerrymandering is real. Look it up in 2019. Yes, folks. If you did not know, political parties sometimes purposely manipulate the boundaries so as to favor one party or class. And this is a real thing. Gerrymandering is real, and it will if you haven't noticed, it's been the case in the past 3 elections, big election cycles, and it's even probably been the case in midterms. People are concerned about the voting systems and the voting process, and that's why I'm telling you, the idea and the amazing thing about this country is that there is so much oversight, not just from the government, but by the citizens. and the citizens, the civilians, the people who are keeping tabs, making sure that even the slackers have to pay their dues. That is the greatest thing about this country, is that everybody has to be accountable for it to survive. And gerrymandering has been a concern for years, for independents, for people, libertarians, for people who do not affiliate themselves with either Republican or Democrat. So what they're saying now is that they're making this political process a little bit unfair, because of the fact that they're going into certain locations and they're basically marking off territories, and that will probably be on the list. Some things you'll probably hear about in 2019 because of the next election and because of what we're seeing right now in politics, folks. You know, I think that the presidential position is such a unique position. I have no problems. I have no problems with the policies of this administration. I have no strife, but the problem is the fact that when you have what I believe that the founding fathers, from my own research, from my own readings, is that they were afraid of too much power. I think that was their number one concern when they were talking about government. I think they seen things over in England that they did not want to see in this country. And we've evolved so much, but right now you have an administration who people are clinging to, but they have to look at the reality of America and what makes this country so unique. And what makes this country unique is the fact that we've always tried to regulate and distribute power evenly. That's why there's checks and balances. And when you have a president who has basically had his hand in almost everybody's pocket, it's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. He's been in all parts of the globe. There's proof that he's been affiliated with Russians. He's got land. He's been affiliated with the Saudis. He's got buildings. And I don't think people are understanding the reality of the situation, is that this country, there's nothing wrong with Donald Trump being president. But when you have that much power as a government official, that's what's scary. And people are complaining about this angry and this upsetness of what's going on in Washington. But folks, there are middle class, people are talking about the job market, and they're talking about job growth in the economy. But folks, we have to look at the roots of this nation, the roots of how it was founded. It was founded off of people's hard labor, and there's a lot of people who feel cheated right now. And they feel like they're not, but right now we have a class that has defined themselves as the elite, and you're starting to see a class that is trying to grasp hold of this system that has been put in place by the elite class. I don't want you to feel left out. That's why I'm trying to make this. I have to keep things as thought out as possible so you can understand what's happening. And people are perceiving this administration as the enemy, when it was formed because of people being fed up with the natural norms of government. But what I'm trying to get you to do as the mediator is take it back to the fundamentals of what the concept of America is really about. It's a nation where people are entitled and can come as a legal citizen to live a good life, and that's what makes it unique. So story number 5, when you talk about gerrymander, people manipulating the system and making people dumb down or using people for a vote, that's not ethics, folks. If a politician is trying to gain your approval, he should be educating you, not getting over on you. So that's what we may be seeing. Like I said, I don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers before the end of the new year, but I'm trying to get you to understand what's happening as I have to make everything make sense in mediation. Let's get to story number 6. The president, the shutdown, and a guidebook on survival in 2019. I'm going to take a sip because, like I said, I'm battling through. It's tough in mediation. As you can see, it's been a tough 2018. And I've come in here every week and I've given you an hour of my time, an hour of my intellect just for you. Like I said, if you want to contribute, it's tough. Mediation is tough. But I've chosen to do the job. I'm going to drink from the fountain of youth right now. And I'm going to go into my power pack. And I'm going to dig deep so I can give you the final 3 stories of 2018 that made it into the Mediator. And I'm going to lead you into 2019. If you want to contribute in any way, it's your choice. As if you want to be a mediator, a mediate, as I would say. If you want to be a contributor to me and help out my cause, to span the globe, flying with my cape on, and all of my hero and all of my penmanship and my honor, my statesmanship as a citizen, transferring from a Department of Defense into the civilian world and transferring into the superness of mediator, the supremeness of mediation. If you want to contribute, you can go to methodinc.com, methodinc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something. Anything helps, folks. Or you could just sponsor the program. methodinc.com. I don't ask for much, but if you want to help me out, you're more than welcome to. Story number 6. As we get closer and closer to the top story, the last story of 2018. It's been an honor, folks. The president, the shutdown, and a guidebook on survival in 2019. Folks, financially struggling government workers are caught up in a shutdown, and they have to get paid. The government is obligated to its employees. It's the most secure job in America to be paid. Any government official, any government employee will tell you that. That's why there's so many people trying to work for the government. And they are right now, there are over 400, there are probably 400,000 workers who are not being paid. The Trump administration is under investigation. The Democrats are scooping up as many staff lawyers as they possibly can to investigate this president. The president has claimed that there has been troop pay raises that have been proven false. Trump has threatened to close the border, terminate trade deals, and to cut aid unless a wall is funded. Let me remind you, folks, that this shutdown could stretch far into 2019. There's a survival guide in 2019, folks. The survival guide for 2019, and the reason why story number 6 is so important, is you have to stay informed. That's survival tip number 1 in 2019. Try to stay occupied with something that could benefit you and everyone around you in 2019. That's number 2. Pay off or down your debts. That's survival tip number 3. Survival tip number 4 in 2019. Build up your savings or stash some money away where you only can find it. Let's get to the last ones. Always collect some canned goods. And remind yourself every day that it can also happen to me or to you. So those are some survival tips that will get you to understand what will be at stake in 2019. We're getting closer and closer to the end of 2018. We've got one more day, and then it's 2019. A lot of people did not think we would make it this far. As a nation, the United States has existed for over 200 years. That's a long time. But right now, there's some things happening that's stirring the melting pot. And there's some people rising up and are starting to see their worth as a human being. And there's some people giving up. Some people have suffered drug overdoses. They've committed suicide on the battlefield. VA reps will tell you there's been soldiers committing suicide. Some people have given up. But there's still, as long as there's a bunch of citizens hungry and eager to advance in this country, it will survive. So keep an eye on story number 6, the president, the shutdown, and a guidebook on survival in 2019. Let's get to story number 7, the final 2 stories of 2018 that made it to the Mediator this week. What we can learn from philanthropy in 2019. If you don't know what philanthropy is, if you're new to mediation, you're new to the news, it's giving, donating. Did you know that a man from I believe it's from Australia, He spent, he donated blood every week for 60 years, and he saved the lives of 2.4 million babies. But his blood was unique. It was able to fight against certain. I think it was. I think it's something that happens when a mother's cells and the new baby cells fight off. So his blood was unique. It was able to help all these people, and he did this for 60 years of his life. Tiger Woods set to build public golf courses in Chicago. I do not want to paint Donald Trump as the enemy because, like I said, he's the president. But in 2017, Trump's tax bill will likely mean billions less in donation for charities this year. So, folks, we have to keep an eye on our ability. We have to reach into our power pack of the American will. And we have to get involved. We have to get informed. We have to hit the gym. We have to hit the weights. We have to understand what's happening. If the politician cannot think, then we may have to do the thinking for them. We have to understand what's at stake. We have to read our Constitution, read the Bill of Rights. We've reached a point in time where if we do not know what these things mean, we will be ignorant and we will fail as a nation, folks. The final story of 2018. The people who feel they're losing and why they may have a voice in 2019. The final story. There's been racial tension in 2018. There's been strife with banks, like I think Wells Fargo, $575 million settlement to states regarding fake account claims. There's been some unethical things happening. There was even a study saying that the music lyrics are getting angrier and sadder over time. You can listen to entertainment or watch entertainment from the 80s and the 70s, and you will see a big difference to where we are now. Some of these people have gone straight monsters and demonic. This will be, people are starting to take notice of this. And people are starting to take notice of certain notes or certain atmospheres that people want to feel. And people are tired of feeling depressed. Death has been in the air, and I think people are doing this with their words and their what they're listening to, what they're feeding themselves. A Chicago resident was shot by a person dressed as a postal worker. North Carolina synagogue was being threatened and hit by vandals. There was a mall brawl involving hundreds of youth. I guess 4 people were arrested, 3 adults, 1 teen. The impact of homelessness and the opioid crisis is having a big problem in San Francisco. The drug epidemic reached a peak this year. It's reaching even in my hometown where I live at right now. Drugs has destroyed every community. Homeless men broke into apartments. This story made it in too, where they broke into apartments to take meals and take a shower, police say. They broke into somebody's place to take a meal, to have a meal and take a shower. But I'm telling you right now, in 2019, the people who feel like they are losing, you will probably see them getting stronger and stronger because they are the hungriest people. And I believe when you feel like you're weak, you have to get stronger. If you want to survive in 2019, as I'm going to end this show on a song. Those are the top 8 stories that made it in the last show of 2018. Some local stories that made it in: the amphitheater sewer project hits a $900K snag. 6 injured in a car crash on Interstate 680. But I'm here to tell you, folks, in 2019, if you want to survive, you're going to have to, I have to take my own advice. You're going to have to realize what's more important to you. And you're going to have to probably empower yourself to seek knowledge. Workers may not have the same jobs, $20 an hour jobs that they had. We're going to have to dig deep. The millennials are going to have to step up. The younger generations. Folks, that's a reality. We only have one day away. Last show before 2019. And I'm telling you, what's at stake? The strength and that power of this country is at stake. It's amazing. We're almost there. One day away, folks. 2019. Thank you so much for tuning to the meter. I'll be right back after the song. Folks, I want to thank you so much. The greatest thing I can say that is and probably most dangerous thing is a free man walking around the house with no clothes on New Year's Eve, and embrace your freedom as we get closer and closer to 2019. Do something that you never thought you'd ever do before, but do it in the right way, and be thankful that the idea and that the concept of freedom and democracy is still here. The red, white, and blue, the black and white, the stars, the stripes, however you want to interpret it. What's on the other side is far better, but we have a chance on this planet to be free and to think freely and to do free things with our time. And I'm telling you right now, I like this I like this country. I like things, and I'm glad to be free. Have a good New Year's, everybody, and Happy New Year. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you for tuning to the meter. If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The mediator is here.